Hey everyone, I'm Summer, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about business growth, leadership, and the practical realities of running a business successfully. This is a part of my Teach Me Something playlist where we have conversations about just about everything with experts who help us avoid costly mistakes or make better decisions and build stronger businesses. And today's topic is one that several entrepreneurs would rather avoid until it becomes a problem or until it's too late. Today, we are talking about employment law. It may not be the most glamorous part of the business ownership, but understanding it is going to save you an incredible amount of money and stress and risk down the road. My guest today is Diane Faulkner. She's a writer and small business employment law advisor based in Jacksonville, Florida. She's written extensively about workplace regulations. She's also the author of the upcoming book, Don't Get Sued, Get Smart. That's a small businesses pocket guide to avoiding employment law landmines. So, Diane, welcome to my show.
Thank you, Summer. Glad to be here.
Nice to have you. Let's get started with the reality that most entrepreneurs started when they started their business because they had their skill, they had a great service to offer, they had a wonderful vision. So when they began hiring people, they often learn as they go, right? Like I did. So from your
Yes.
experience, what are some of the biggest mistakes that small business owners make when it comes to employment law?
Well, when in the very beginning, when they're starting to hire people, one of the things that they don't realize is that um, you can't just go online and look people up to see,
Mm,
who they are and everything. There's a certain point in the interview process where you can actually look them up online, and it's not right in the beginning. It's actually when you decide to bring them in for an interview. And if you do that beforehand, you set yourself up for being sued because when you see a person's picture online, you can tell what their gender is, you can usually tell what their race is.
mm.
Sometimes from their posting, you can tell what their religion is, or national origin. All of these things are protected information that you're not supposed to know prior to hire or prior to interview. When you are looking for someone, you want to just look for their knowledge, skills, and abilities,
Mm.
and you get that from their resume, and you get that from their application with you.
And I think that's where most people get caught off guard because, see, a lot of business owners, they're not trying to do the wrong thing. Nobody does
No,
that. But
no.
they simply don't realize that they're creating a risk, right?
hmm
So when a company gets employment law wrong, what can actually happen? Like I'm talking
Oh
about
gosh.
consequences where you have seen businesses fail because they fail to comply.
Yeah, you can if you if you don't do your paperwork right, you can get fined from anywhere from $1,000 per mistake up to $150,000 at the very first mistake.
Hmm.
That from what I've seen, you can also get up to a year in jail, and
Oh,
people don't realize that by not paying their people correctly or by discrimination. It's usually by not paying people correctly where people get themselves in trouble. But
wow.
yeah,
And this is US law, right?
U.S. law.
And do you know how different it is from Canadian law?
I have no idea what Canadian law is. It's
Hmm.
not too different,
Hmm.
because they do kind of follow what we do. Um, in terms of employment law, they kind of look at what California is doing, and they kind of go with that.
Hmm. Does it differ from state to state in the US?
Well, federal law is not different from state to state, but there
Hmm.
are state laws that are like, we have the Pregnancy Workers Fairness Act
Hmm.
now, and as well as Pregnancy Discrimination Act, as well as another pregnancy act. I can't, which is the name is escaping me right now.
Hmm.
But these three acts they're federal, and they work in conjunction with each other. But each state has or does not have their own version of the Pregnancy Workers Fairness Act. Pump
Hmm.
Act, that's the other
Hmm.
one.
Pump
Uh,
Act.
the Pump Act, where that's where employers have to give nursing mothers 20 minutes every time they need to pump. They have to give them 20
Take 20
minutes of,
minutes off. Hmm.
yeah, 20 minutes off. So,
Hmm.
and that's paid time. So that's, a lot of people don't realize that. But there are some states who give them more time. There
Hmm.
are some states who have, they expand on the Pregnancy Workers Fairness Act. It just depends, and you have to be aware of what your state Department of Labor is doing.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I actually have this, I'm not sure if it's on my website, but people can get it from me if they email me. I've got a list of all of the laws
Hmm.
that a small business is supposed to follow.
That would
And
be
if
very
they,
resourceful.
yeah, and if they just take those laws and then contact their Department of Labor, they can see, or not contact them, but go onto their state Department of Labor website. They can see, what are the adjacent laws to each of these
Hmm.
laws that they have to
Hmm.
follow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm already getting scared of the financial and operational consequences. Although I'm a good employer, I've been told. But
Yes.
let's address the question that probably gets everybody's attention. A lot of business owners assume that the worst case scenario is a fine or a lawsuit.
Hmm.
But you said people can actually go to jail for violating employment laws. So,
Hmm.
under what circumstances does it actually raise to something to that level?
If you are uh, consistently paying people incorrectly, if you're
Mm,
consistently not following, and I'm talking federal laws. It's different for state laws.
mm,
Uh, but if you consistently violate these laws, then yeah, you can get yourself some jail time, and that's not good.
goodness me, that's not good. That's not good at all. What I
No.
appreciate about this conversation is that it's not meant for creating fear, but
No.
helping business owners become proactive instead of, I don't know if I'm taking a risk. I don't know whether I should be doing this. So if you could give every small business owner right now, like just one employment law habit that they can right away adopt, what advice would you give them? Like, don't overthink everything, but just do this one thing.
If you have an up-to-date um, handbook,
Hmm.
you set yourself out on the right path. And that handbook
Good.
needs to be every single year, it needs to be relooked at
Hmm.
because employment law changes throughout the year. And it changes since it's not, the employment laws are actually, they're actually interpretations of laws,
Hmm.
of acts.
Hmm.
Like the Fair Labor Standards Act is not a law per se, it's an act,
Hmm.
but it's treated as a law. Um, and there are tweaks that can happen. Sometimes
Hmm.
the tweaks happen when administrations change out
Hmm.
in Washington, D.C., and sometimes they happen, most often they happen when there are lawsuits that are brought, and case law basically determines what's going to be what you need to do
Hmm.
from there on out. But most small business owners don't follow case law. They don't know to look
Oh my.
on
Hmm.
they don't know to look on the EEOC website or the Department of Labor website for their updates.
Hmm.
And they should be reading those updates like at least once a month. Go through and see what's happened in the last month and see if there's anything that that you need to be doing differently, or if you need to update something in your handbook. That's
Hmm.
why it's so important to have um, your pick out your favorite employment law attorney
Hmm.
and
Okay. Yes.
establish a relationship with that employment law attorney.
Hmm.
Uh, and keep, I always tell people to keep like 2 hours worth of an employment law attorney's time
Hmm.
banked so
Hmm.
that if they need to contact them for any reason,
Hmm.
they know
They're
that they've
always
got
there.
that rainy
Hmm.
day fund is there.
Hmm.
And, that could be like $500 that you have banked away
Hmm.
and you just don't touch it. And
Hmm.
if something happens, like you need to fire somebody, if you need to fire somebody, you need to contact an employment law attorney before you fire them because they need to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row.
Hmm.
Um, if you need to discipline someone and you've never disciplined anyone before, at
Hmm.
least contact an HR consultant, if not an employment law attorney, so
Wow.
that they can walk you through what you need to do before you actually discipline somebody.
Hmm. And does this apply also to micro businesses that are
Oh
like
yeah,
2 or 3 employees?
yeah, yeah.
And what
Because
about,
there are some employment laws that start when you have your very first employee, just
oh
one
boy,
employee. Yeah. So if you have
that's
more than one
amazing.
employee,
Mm,
you should have a handbook
mm,
when you hire that first employee. You should be able to have a handbook that you can give to them and say, these are the laws that we follow, and these are the rules, of
mm,
engagement,
mm,
in my company, basically.
mm, mm,
And I have a recent example of a friend of mine who hired someone. She brought her on as an she brought her on as a freelancer,
mhm.
but she treated her like an employee. She
You can
gave
do
her
that?
You're not no, you're not supposed to do that. She treated her
Ah,
like an
that's what I
employee.
thought. That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
she gave her a laptop. She gave her she paid for training. She paid for her Chamber of Commerce membership and
Oh.
other
Mm,
memberships to professional organizations and
mm,
everything. And you
mm,
can't do that with a freelancer.
yes.
And she also paid her a salary, which you can't do with a freelancer. Now
Mm,
she didn't have a statement of work. She
mm.
didn't have a contract with her. This was all just done on a handshake and a prayer, basically.
Oh
And
boy.
and I warned her, that you don't want to do this.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're treating her as an employee, make her your employee. It'll be cleaner
Hmm.
when this relationship goes sour, if the relationship goes sour, it'll be a
Hmm.
clean cut. Well, the relationship did go sour and
Wow.
they had to part ways. Now, what my friend set herself up for was a lawsuit, because she could say that, well, I had an employment contract, or um, I was an employee, so I should be able to get unemployment
Hmm.
in, payments.
Yeah.
And she's, thank heavens, she did not do that. She didn't file for unemployment or anything like that, but she certainly could have filed for unemployment, and my friend would have been liable for
Oh,
paying the
absolutely.
unemployment insurance. Plus, she would have been liable for the unemployment the state unemployment tax that she did not pay for her friend that she hired because
Because
she
the
hired
hire
her
was
as
actually a freelancer.
because yeah, but with everything that she did
Hmm.
with her employee, she treated her as an employee. So she did owe the state unemployment
Hmm.
tax. She owed the federal unemployment tax. She owed the Social Security. She owed the all of the different various taxes, federal and state taxes that you would owe on an employee. And she could get herself into a lot of trouble for not paying those taxes. There would not only would you
Probably jail time for this one, right?
pardon me?
Probably jail time for this one.
Yeah,
That is scary.
probably.
That
Yeah.
is scary. And last question, actually, it's been bothering me. I've seen retail outlets handing out employee handbook, a printed, beautiful one.
Mhm.
How would some small business, like somebody that has 1 or 2 employees, do they have a template or something to create an employee
No,
handbook, and
you
what do they do?
with an employee handbook, you basically need to go to either an employment law attorney or you need to go to an HR consultant who does employment handbooks.
Okay.
And the reason for that is there's it's so employment law heavy that if you were just to take a template that you can get templates off from the internet,
Hmm.
but they're usually incorrect because they're static. They're set in time. You don't know if you're
Hmm.
taking down or if you're downloading a template that was made 2 years ago or even 18 months ago, it would be out of date.
Okay.
So
Wow.
you need to have someone who, when you decide to do it, you need to have someone who knows what the laws are right now.
Hmm. Wow. And this has been one of those conversations that every business owner who has an employee needs to hear, whether they
Yes.
have 1 employee or 100.
Yeah.
And I think understanding employment law is not just, not to just avoid lawsuits, but also creating a healthy and compliant and sustainable business that protects
Yeah.
both the owner and the team.
Exactly. What I tell my clients is, and my readers, is that, you can create a very, very healthy culture if you just follow the law.
Follow the law. Yes.
Follow the law. You can create great teams, you can create great culture, just follow the law because it's going to keep
Hmm.
you on the straight and narrow, and it's going to keep everyone on an equal playing field.
Hmm.
And it just makes life so much simpler if you
So
just
much
follow the law.
simpler. That is so
You
true. Small business owners, employers, if this resonated with you, go connect with Diane and keep an eye out on her new book. Don't get sued, get smart. Her
Mhm.
links are going to be right below. And get in touch with her. Her book is going to be launched in a couple of months. Diane, please tell us more about your book.
My book is basically a compilation of stories from my career as well as from what's happened on in the news. And they're stories to scare you straight, basically. But I tell the stories and then I explain what went wrong.
Hmm.
Why the employer was wrong, and
Hmm.
then I explain what law was broken, and
Hmm.
I detail what the law is, and help you understand each and every
Hmm.
law that I cover, and then I give you a list of responsibilities as an employer that you need to go through, and then I end it with some key takeaways, and I do that with every single chapter, and then in the second half of the book, I basically put it all together for you, and I created some fictional um, fictional companies and just put all the laws in action
Hmm.
so that you can see how they work, and those are based on
What
real
actually happened?
compilation of people, yeah. So
Sounds like my book. My book is mostly
yes,
like my coaching clients with their name changed. Exact story, but with the name change, just to protect privacy.
yes, yes,
And
absolutely.
stories, you guys, you need to listen to stories because sometimes when we listen to stories or read stories, we know something is wrong, and that's not the mistake that we want to do.
That's true.
So
And you've got at the there I've got several appendices in the back of the book that have all kinds of resources for you that you can use right now. So you can just copy and paste them wherever it is that you need to copy and paste them so that you can see them right in front of you all the time.
that's wonderful. When did you say the book is coming out?
The book comes out November 12th, but you can
November 12th.
pre-order. You can
Hmm.
pre-order, and I highly encourage you to pre-order. It's going to print actually next Monday. So I'm
Okay.
very, very happy about
So
that.
links are down below. Links are down below. So get in touch with Diane. Diane, what's the best place for people to connect with you?
They can connect with me by email, Diane@DianeFaulkner.com. Just mention this podcast in the subject matter or subject line so
Mhm.
that I know to look at the email. I get hundreds of emails every day.
Mhm.
Or you can go to my website, DianeFaulkner.com, and you can contact me there, or you can go to LinkedIn, and I'm just plain old Diane Faulkner, all one word, on LinkedIn.
All those links, you guys, they are down below. And if you're enjoying these Teach Me Something conversations, make sure you like and subscribe and share this with a business owner who needs to hear it, especially those if you think they're breaking an employment law.
Mm.
So, Diane, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure having you over my podcast.
Thank you for having me, Summer. I appreciate it.
And you guys, I'll see you the next one.